Who said Hispanic values are conservative values? Latinos and Hispanics are Republican, they just don't know it yet. Those are words from former US President Ronald Reagan. You don't need to look any further than the last election to see the impact that the Hispanic and Latino vote can have on getting conservative Republican candidates elected like Mayra Flores and Ted Cruz of Texas, or Marco Rubio of Florida, and others. God, family, and country. That's what the RNHA is about. From 1967 until now, we have worked to get the Hispanic communities across the U.S. educated about and involved in the political process. Find out how you can get involved by clicking the link in the description.
All right, we are live. Okay, looks like we lost Myron. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. This is our first 2023 candidate forum. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to join us. Make sure you visit the link on the bottom of the screen. It is rnha.org. Again, that's rnha.org. Make sure to join us today. And I think our host has joined us. Myron, are you in? Okay. All right. Give us a split second. We lost our host. And hang on. Let's see. All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started. First and foremost, I want to thank the let's see. I hear her chirping back in. Here we go. We just got a black screen on you, Myron. Can you talk? Hello? All right. Bear with us 1 second. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is our 2023 forum, and with live feeds, sometimes you have this kind of stuff happen. But we're going to go ahead and get started here. We have some amazing candidates that we've endorsed this year, and this is a very, very important election cycle. And let's see, we can get Myron back in here. Again, like I said, this is a very, very important election cycle for us. And we have a great slate of candidates that have been endorsed. And we're going to start bringing folks in here shortly. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Let me see, is this Myron? Nope, that's Diane. Diane, can we have Myron jump back in? Thanks. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring our candidates up, and we're gonna go around the room, as it were, and we're gonna introduce everyone, get everyone introduced here, and let's start from the top and work our way around, if you will. I'm gonna go ahead and start unmuting everyone, and go ahead, just really briefly introduce yourself, and just say what you're running for, and we will come back around the room with some questions. And we'll start at the top left.
Is that me right here?
That would be Mr. Baker's top left.
Okay.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My name is Joe Baker, lifetime resident of Nassau County, New York, and I'm running for Nassau County legislator in the 5th legislative district. Nassau County has a population of 1.4 million. That's why I'm so proud to be part of the decision making.
Okay, we'll go to the next person, which would be you, Manny.
Hello, I'm Suffolk County Legislator Manuel Esteban Sr., also known as Manny, and I reside in East Northport, married with 7 children, and I'm a proud Republican conservative, and I represent District 16 in Suffolk County, which encompasses hamlets in the town of Huntington, Islip, and Babylon. Thank you for this forum, and I look forward to hearing from everyone.
Okay, next. And that's Miss Kozak is next.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Debbie Kozak. I am running for Westchester County Legislator in District 16. And I thank everybody for letting me come here tonight to share with you guys. This seat is very important, as you were saying earlier on about having an important election. I am the first Republican to run for this seat in 20 years, or at least 20 years, I should say. So I'm excited to share that information with you and listen to everybody else. Thank you.
Okay.
Buenas noches a todos. My name is Ruben Rodriguez. I'm running in the 2nd District in Waterbury, Connecticut. I'm I've been resident in Waterbury for 24 years, and I've been, active member of the RNHA. I'm the regional director for the northeast part of the northeast part of the U.S. So, and I'm running because it is time for a change in our district and in our city. So, they've been run by Democrats for 20 years, and right now we're having an open seat for mayors and aldermen. So it's a good time for us to take back and change the way that the city is being run.
So I guess I could start. Good evening, buenas noches. My name is Paul Rodriguez. I'm actually running for New York City Council in the 38th District, which is an area in Brooklyn that encompasses several neighborhoods stretching from northern to southern Brooklyn. It's a very diverse district, so it's about 35 to 40% Hispanic Latino, about 25% Asian, mostly Chinese, and then within what you would call the 1/3, which is white or European, it's also fairly broad. You have a lot of Orthodox Jews from Eastern Europe. You have Italians, Middle Eastern, Irish. So it's really a broad cross section. And then you have a small sliver African American. So I'm very happy to be with you all. In terms of my involvement with RNHA, I currently serve as the New York State Vice Chair. And I'm very proud to be a member of this organization because I really do see it as an umbrella organization to really activate various different Latino groups here in the state and throughout the country. It's got a long history. And some of you might know me last year because I was the Republican and Conservative nominee for New York State Controller last year. So I'm very happy to be with you and looking forward to speaking more about the issues as we go on. It could be Helen now.
Hi, I'm Helen Keel. I'm running for City Council in Lower Manhattan, and my district is south of Houston. And we have Wall Street, we have Chinatown, we have Little Italy, we have Grand Street houses, and we have Lower East Side. And we also have Battery Park City, Tribeca, and Soho. And we have the Statue of Liberty. So I hope everybody will love my district and you will love my district as much as me. And we will bring back safety and prosperity to my district and New York. Thank you very much. I'm Helen Keel. Thank you.
I think it's Joe.
Am I back on?
Yeah, I think I'm back on. Hey, how you doing? My name is Joe Torres. I'm a former city councilman in the city of Peekskill in northern Westchester. I was a councilman for 4 years. And I'm also running for Westchester County Legislator in District 1. And, I'm an ambassador with the RNHA. And that's my whole story.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Blessings. My name is Diane Rivera Lopez, and by the grace of God, I've been with the RNHA since 2019, writing as a journalist and doing several articles Then this past year, I was joined in as the press secretary and also now the state secretary for New York. So thank you so much for that opportunity bestowed on me, and it's good to be here and continue to be moving forward. All the best to all the candidates that are running in this election term, and thank you to our chairwoman, which she's here. So
Yeah, we definitely had some technical difficulties there. Again, I wanted to introduce myself. Myron Torres. I am the New York State Chairwoman. I was formerly the National Secretary as of recent. And I just want to say congratulations to everyone that got the Republican National Hispanic Assembly endorsement. And this live event that we're having right now is basically to give you a few moments to have the national spotlight, to be able to talk about your district, talk about what's important to you, and what drove you to run as a candidate in your area. So I know that Joe Torres just spoke. Who else had an opportunity to speak so far?
Well, what I did was I just had everybody introduce themselves to the audience
Okay.
really quickly, the district that they're running for. And I think what we can do is, pose a couple of questions that the candidates can each take a moment or two, that are important. And I think, did we have a list or?
Yes.
Perfect.
So I would really like to start with Debbie Kozak. Debbie, you're new to this, so I really want to give you an opportunity to express to everyone what actually moved you to run in your area.
Well, thank you very much, Myron. So yeah, I am definitely new to the political arena. I have been it would be a lie to say a stay-at-home mom, but I've been a work from everywhere mother for two children. I have an 18-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old daughter, and they have an acute medical condition, which we didn't find out about until my oldest daughter was 6 months old. So I had to learn how to care for both my children over the past 18 years. The district lines were changed last fall. And, God works in mysterious ways. My children are in a really good place, and the district is not. And I know I can do a better job than the people that are there now. What was now former opponent resigned from his position at the end of July due to a scandal, a housing scandal that he was involved in. And so it's an open seat. And the election is in 5 weeks from tomorrow. So I know I can do a much better job. We have a crisis here with illegal immigrants that are being transported from New York City up to Westchester County. The first group of them came here to Yonkers, actually in District 16, of which they are still there. Those are the ones that we know about. And then we're finding out that there are, other groups of people that are being sent up here from different countries that the Biden administration is just sending up directly to the states of their choosing. And this is a big problem here, not just for the people of Westchester, but for our country. So, yeah, I'm the first candidate to do this in 20 years, which was not the reason why I'm doing it, but I'm very proud to be able to step up at this time to throw my hat into the ring. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for taking the courage and taking a step of faith and running in your district.
Yeah.
Raheem, do you have another question for her?
No. It's interesting. She actually touched on, and I kind of had a question to, give the candidates all an opportunity to speak on an issue. She brought up this issue of illegal migration into the city. For those of you guys that are running in the city, um, what, given the office that you're going to be in, is your plan to kind of help curb some of this, and to address the issue, and what's your stance on the current situation? Are you, obviously you're a conservative, so you're not for the illegal immigration, but how has the administration, statewide, citywide, do you feel our leadership has handled the crisis, and what do you think you can bring to the table to help curb it? And I guess let's start from the top and go around. I guess we can just keep it in order. We'll start top left, and then we'll go to Mr. Esteban and so forth.
Sure.
Sure. So, as we all know, most of our ancestors came to this country legally, and what's happening lately has been a tragedy. We have just very close to a small town called Floral Park. We have New York State Hospital. That used to be a mental hospital, Creedmoor. That they put 1,000 people under a tent with no plan, with no long-term plan. So unfortunately, I think it was 1,000 men that were put under the tent. They have, during the day, one of my questions to the state was, well, what happens during the day? What do they do? Well, I soon found out that these poor guys walk around aimlessly. They're not sure what to do next. They're knocking on doors. Some of them are begging for money. And my fear is that some of the kids, some of these young people are going to join gang groups. Hopefully that doesn't happen. So you've got to feel bad for the families that are trying to have a better life. They come to this country for a better life. But again, it should be done legally. New York City is a sanctuary city. And unfortunately, it's overflowing. So we have a great county executive that said, no, it's not going to happen in Nassau County. So we want to keep the quality of life in our suburban Nassau County of 1.4 million people. We've kept it a very safe county. That's why we want to keep it that way.
Mr. Esteban.
Rahim, could you summarize the question again for me, please?
So, and I think you've had a unique experience being an incumbent with this issue of illegal immigration. You may have a little bit of a unique experience, but seeking reelection, right? What are the plans to kind of address some of the concern residents have about the potential of housing illegal, undocumented migrants? What would be your plan to continue to support or stop that from happening in Suffolk County, or to address some of the concerns that citizens and residents are having?
So this issue is very, very important to me because I'm a compassionate conservative. I'm a Republican, and I'm also a Hispanic with many friends, family members who have been through the immigration experience. And what I see it is, many of the people that are coming here are leaving very difficult situations. Many of them are freedom fighters that have stood up for democracy in their countries, and they're leaving those countries to come here for a safe harbor. Many of them are seeking a asylum, which is I'm an attorney, which is a process that is a lawful process. It's unfortunate that this lawful process is not being completed at the border in an expeditious way. So what we have is all these folks who, because of a failure of the United States Immigration Service, now have to be bused and transported. The residents of my district have spoken very clearly that they're concerned about the taxes increasing for them. However, we also have many in my district who care very much about the migrants and want to make sure that they're safe, make sure that they feel safe. And for those that do get granted asylum or an immigration visa, we want to make sure that they feel safe and welcome in our community. The issue here is protecting our budgets, but as a Latino, we also have to be very careful of something called Hispanophobia. So it's a very delicate issue, and we have to, as an elected official, I have to have the courage to also say, yes, we want to watch our budgets, and we don't want, what some people perceive a troublesome visitors. But at the same time, we also have to recognize these are human beings. As Republicans and conservatives, we embrace biblical values, many of us, and part of those biblical values is being good to the fellow stranger, being good to refugees, and helping our neighbors. And many of these folks, they are our neighbors. And in many cases, we're related to them in a certain way through blood if we if we have family that come from these countries. So for me, this has been an issue that, I have prayed about a lot. And I walk the balance of protecting the taxpayer, but also protecting the human dignity of the people that are traveling under very difficult circumstances. And we have to have a better system of vetting and fingerprinting and searching criminal records so that we are helping the mothers and children and the people who have a valid claim from the people who may be troublesome for whatever reason.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Next.
Thank you. And Debbie, did you want to also speak on this topic on how you plan
Yeah.
on?
Well, I'll just say that the residents of Yonkers here in District 16, we do have a very large Hispanic community. It's about 45% Hispanic. And a lot of them have come from other countries and did so the legal process. They feel, a lot of the residents do feel that they are not being cared for properly, and that all the focus is being put on migrants and people that are coming here versus them. And when they find out that the people that are here being brought up from New York City that came here illegally to this country, not by the proper process, that they're getting free food, free housing, free clothing, 2 phones, one with an international plan, that they get free medication mailed to them, that they're getting free health care and free schooling, and that they're, free, and they're not getting that. Some of them don't even have a job. They're waiting for housing. They're getting vouchers. They're on wait lists, and they're really very upset about it. And it's not from being out of not being compassionate. It's about, as a legislator, as a person representing your county, you need to take care of your own people, your own residents, the taxpayers, the ones that are funding all of the programs. And so there needs to be a voice on the county level for this type of a situation. We don't have that right now. And, for me personally, something very personal. I have for over 20 years sponsored children in other countries. I have 2, I call them my daughters. They call me Madrina. They're in Guatemala. I have a son in Peru, and I have another son in Ethiopia. And every month I send their families through programs money, so that way they don't have to do what other families are choosing to do to make that journey up here for a better life, and that they can do that where they live. And I would encourage people to reach out to organizations to help support people that way, so that they can be supported in their own countries where a lot of people just want to stay. I mean, not everybody wants to leave where they live. They feel very connected where they are. A voice on the county is what I will be for the people that live here in Yonkers and Westchester County.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Thank you for your response. Ruben Rodriguez?
Well, it's a real difficult topic because we're Latinos. We're in the same boat. But one of the biggest things that I hear from people is that, and I even investigated this, that when they come here illegally, you got to remember there's all the people already in the immigration process that is taking them 5 to 10 years just to get their visa. These people are getting already in 90 days their court date, when other people that are fighting for this and that came here legally are trying to do their way, are not having that same luck. So, we have to put all this in a balance, and, I know there's a lot of difficult things in every country, and we are proud to have the U.S. to kind of have open arms and, come here, but there's ways to do it. Do you know that in Mexico, if they cross the border in Mexico, they get a 1-year sentence to be in prison for 1 year if they get caught illegally crossing the border. So it's we got to take this in a matter of how can we deal with this, but in a way that is going to be beneficial for the people and us, that are already here, especially those that are already fighting for this uh, issue for 5, 10 years, trying to get their visa. We have to look at those people first and then go from there on. Uh, in my district, we have 43 to 45% Latinos. So we got from all backgrounds, and I hear it in the streets. And Connecticut is between New York and Boston, and New York, and we're gonna get whatever they can handle. Connecticut is gonna have it because we are a sanctuary state too. So it's getting into that point that people are upset of how the government, it's this administration, not the government, this administration is handling the immigration part of it. So in my district, we have to, I listen and I help anyone that I can. It's difficult. I know these people come from difficult situations, but a lot of people are taking advantage of the situation too.
Thank you for your response. Helen Q.
Thank you. In my district, migrant crisis is one of the top 3 issues, and I listened to my colleagues just now, and I think we share the same opinion or our policy stand that we cannot put illegal migrants first. We must put New Yorkers first. New Yorkers using legal process are applying for their relatives. My constituents, I have about 20% of Hispanic in my district. So my district has about 19% of Hispanic and 33% of Chinese. And they use legal process to apply for their relatives, their family to come to this country, and they follow every procedure. However, they are now being insulted by the current policy, which I think is very offensive to 2 millions of Hispanic. This is a Hispanic channel, so I want to highlight how many legal Hispanics are currently in the queue. 2 million. So 2 million Hispanic legal applicants are being ignored right now. And if we do not speak up for these 2 million of Hispanic families, but we stand right next to a migrant to show our false compassion, I think it's not what New York is about, and also not what America is about. We want to pursue American dreams, but even Ellis Island, people don't come to Ellis Island, hundreds of years ago. They do not come illegally. They came legally. That's why there's Ellis Island, because they went there and processed their paperwork. Some of them, due to illness, due to a variety of reasons, they are being rejected and sent back to Europe. So Ellis Island is a Statue of Liberty is in my district. Ellis Island and Statue of Liberty is a symbol of legal immigration, and a symbol of why 2 millions of Hispanics are following the procedures and respecting American law. So I think every lawyer, every legal profession need to respect American law. I think that's the most basic thing. If we think the law is not good, then change the law. But before we change the law must be respected. The law is there for a reason. And we follow the law, and then we go through immigration process. I myself is one example. And I think I want to put the 2 million Hispanic families first. And I want to put my Hispanic families in my district first. So I'm not a Hispanic myself, but I feel like I am one because we share the same values. We love our family. We love to bring our family together. And immigration is one of the ways that we bring our family from a different country to America, and then we settle here, and we build our family here. We build our business here. We want our children to prosper here and to contribute to America. So this is our core value, and I think Chinese immigrants and Hispanic immigrants share the same value, and European immigrants too. When they came here, maybe a few more generations ahead of us, but they share the same value. They want to build and contribute to this country, to build this beautiful country. Right now, if we think that they are doing asylum, actually it's not. They are not. 97% of them do not qualify asylum. 97%. So the time they're waiting for asylum and we are paying for it, are our compassion misplaced? And I don't think that's what New Yorkers want. And that's why 82% of the New Yorkers now feel the national pain that border states like Arizona, like Texas are feeling right now. Now we share the same pain. We realize we cannot have open border. If we have open border, then the entire world can come to New York and ask for free hotel. No. And we are spending $10,000 per migrant per month. 10,000. So we have many panelists here. Do you spend $10,000 per person in your family per month? If the answer is no, then you know it's not a sustainable solution. And we cannot have open border. So it's very simple. And I know we are not running for Congress, but I think united, we can deliver a very strong message to the Congress. New Yorkers do not want open border. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Helen. That's Helen Q from District 1. Thank you very much. And Joe Torres,
Yes.
what is your response with the question?
My response is basically the same thing. You know, I went to a factory the other day and I spoke to, which mostly is ran by migrants. I mean, there's management, and I spoke to them and they were all complaining about the same thing, that they've been here for 15, 20 years and they're working very hard. And, you know, these people are coming in and getting everything free. And they felt it wasn't fair to them. So I was very surprised to see that they were upset. You know, I thought they would be welcoming to what's going on, but they weren't. You know, it's a big issue. I mean, in the long run, it's going to affect us, our schools, right? The schools are going to be overrun. Our taxes are going to go up because we have to pay for, bigger classrooms or more teachers to handle these kids. The hospitals are going to be overwhelmed. And you know, we can be compassionate, but also we have to be responsible. And, you know, we have our veterans that we treat. You know, we should be treating better than these people because they fought for our country, and we're not even doing that. So there's a lot of things that need to be done. As a Westchester County legislator, I would do everything in my power that we can do to change some of that, to help the veterans, the seniors. We have seniors here that they spent all their lives here not being treated that well also. So, you know, all that comes comes down to us, and, you know, the people in power now don't seem to really care about that, and we have to change that. We have to take care of Americans first, and then after that, we can take care of the people that want to come here and be part of our country. You know, so.
Thank you so much for that response, and very good response, and I agree with you. Paul Rodriguez.
Well, I know I don't want to be repetitive of all the other things that I said, but I would just mention a couple of things. As I was saying, my district is very diverse. It's mostly either immigrants or the children and grandchildren of immigrants, or people who are a member of the diaspora, like we are, like us Puerto Ricans. And whether you are Latino, Asian, Middle Eastern, or Eastern European, the biggest concern I hear in my district is that our voices are not being heard. They're saying we work very hard to come here to do things the right way, the legal way, but even putting all that aside, we are your constituents. You know, they elected their city council people so that they would prioritize their interest above others, because that's why you vote for someone to represent you. Your representative is supposed to look out for your interests, and they feel they basically have no voice. and that whenever they try to express any type of concern, they're simply shut down, they're silenced, they immediately get called a bigoted, racist, xenophobic, etc. And when you don't allow people to vent their concerns, that turns into anger, and then it can turn into something a lot more negative and ugly, which is what we do not want. And that is not compassionate. I think the other thing is, what do we do about it? Well, I think we really need to now, finally, even Democrats here in the city are coming to terms with the fact of, does it really make sense to be a sanctuary city? You have basically a group of people who advocated for open borders, who were uncooperative with the federal government in anything related to legal immigration enforcement, who further defied ICE and the government by saying we now declare ourselves either a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state. They did all these things, and it was very easy for them to virtual signal in that way because, they were thousands of miles away from the southern border, and they were completely shielded from any of the consequences of that supposed policy. But then once they come face to face with it now, all they can do is deflect blame and blame the federal government. Now, mind you, President Biden has been a failure at this, and he's caused a lot of these problems by reversing a lot of the policies that President Trump had put in place, such as the stay in Mexico policy for asking for asylum. But yet, our elected officials will not take any kind of responsibility. And somehow this mismanagement and this very ad hoc way of putting some here and some in Queens and some in Sunset Park and some in other places without having any kind of comprehensive policy, because they never had a policy. Virtual signaling is not a policy. When there are no consequences, but I say the difference between virtual signaling and public policy is consequences. When there are no consequences, and when you don't really have a plan in place to take care of people that you're inviting literally into your home, then it's nothing more than an empty gesture, and it's actually quite incompassionate. It's incompassionate for them because they're being used as pawns, and it's definitely not compassionate for your constituents. So we definitely need to, first of all, we need to close the border. I'm not necessarily with the crowd that's saying send them all back, because aside from the fact that I don't think that's necessarily practical, I'm not sure if that's necessarily desirable either. However, by the same token, I also recognize that the majority of those people, even though we're now calling them all asylum seekers, I remember once upon a time, you used to either, it was illegal alien, that's actually, I think, still the legal term, but then they went to undocumented, and now asylum seekers. Not every single person coming into this country is necessarily escaping persecution. Some of them are, as Mr. Esteban was saying, some of them are freedom fighters. Some of them are escaping literally for their lives. But the vast majority of them, whether we want to accept it or not, are mostly coming here for economic opportunities, which I support. But there are ways of getting here. People who, for example, live in Asia or live in Africa don't have the luxury of simply walking across the border, although some of them make themselves to Central America, make themselves to Mexico, and then come in through El Paso or through some of the other areas, not always at the point of entry, which is where they should come in through if they're requesting asylum. So I think we really need to close the border, and we really need to now have a honest conversation without hurling epithets at each other and insults and trying to accuse each other of racism or xenophobia, and say, does it really make sense to just simply open the doors without any kind of process in place to be able to welcome these people? And that's where I see it. And that's what the concern that people are having. They're being ignored. And of course, when you're ignored, things go out of hand. And we've seen that already in several places in the city. And that helps nobody. Certainly not the immigrants that are coming.
So, Myron, looking at the time, right? I want to get to Legislator Esteban and what we should do at this point, because we have another round of candidates trying to get in as well. What
That's
I'd
fine.
like to do is everybody take 2 minutes tops, right? And I want to start with Legislator Esteban, right? Give us a quick campaign update. How can the voters get in touch with you? and what, if any, events do you have coming up that we can look forward to, and how can we support your campaign? And we're going to start with Legislator Esteban and give him the full screen. Go ahead, sir.
Well, thank you, Raheem. I appreciate all you do. So my website is esteban4ny.com. It's spelled Esteban FORNY.com, and you can find out more about me there. We have an event coming up. It's called my second annual Fall Ball on Wednesday, actually, from 6 to 9, and it's going to be quite an event. We have a lot of live performers, and we bring people from all areas of the community together. It's something I really enjoy. And again, my work is bringing the community together, different interests, and listening to each other, because sometimes we have to listen to each other as a community to keep the community together, and to help those that sometimes are the voiceless in our community. So that's something I bring to the table, and I have to say I'm proud of that, because sometimes it's not always easy to speak up when everyone around you thinks differently. But I'm very proud to speak up and defend, and just when I mention certain things, it's I don't say it's the case, but just to be vigilant to this thing, so that we're protecting all people in the district, whether they're voters or not voters, because again, everyone in my district is entitled to the human dignity and my protection. So my campaign 3 issues are investments in public safety, keeping Long Island affordable, and helping our small businesses, which are the lifeblood of our economy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
Thank you for joining us tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Who do you want to go to next, Myron?
Well, I would like to give the opportunity for Joe Baker.
Okay. Hello again, everybody. Again, my name is Joe Baker, and I'm from Merrick, Long Island, South Shore of Nassau County. Nassau County has 1.4 million people. My particular district is a village called Freeport, consists of almost 50% Latinos. I'm very proud that I'm very active in a diverse community, not Latinos, but with the South Asian population. And so you can reach me. Anybody can follow me on Facebook at Joe Baker for County Legislator. You'll see all the stuff that I've done. So in the past, I've 17 years as a civic association president, which is basically a homeowners association. Very active with the Merrick Chamber of Commerce as a board member, and also with the Historical Society of my community. So I'm well known in the community. I'm hoping to win, and my issues basically are, it all boils down to quality of life. It seems like all these things that we're talking about really affect quality of life. And New York State, of course, as we know, the majority is in the Democrat majority is in the Assembly, the Senate, and of course the executive office. So we can't do anything as far as the state. We're kind of frozen in place here. In Nassau County, we have a Republican majority, and we're hoping to make it a super majority. We have to keep it a majority, otherwise our suburban will be threatened with the ideas that Governor Hochul has. So again, I'm just proudly endorsed by the Republican Party. I'm a candidate with the Republican and Conservative Party, and I'm also a retired law enforcement officer, 32 years as a law enforcement officer. And I'm just proud to say that my granddaughter was a Latina, is in the Federal Academy to become an ATF agent. So I'm very proud of that. And so we're gonna do our best to keep Nassau County the way it is, the way we enjoy life, as I have for many, many, many years. Bail reform is one of the issues that we talk about a lot. Being in the system as an officer, I had seen firsthand judges make decisions. Now their hands are tied; they're not able to make decisions as they used to. So we have repetitive violators on the streets. They're walking out. The judges can't do anything about it. It's unfortunate. So we have to change that. Hopefully, one day we'll get the majority back in the state again. But Nassau County right now, my goal is to keep Nassau the way it is and the way it's been. There's many more issues that I'd like to speak about. But getting back to the migrant issue, of course, it all starts at the top. So hopefully next year we'll have another president, a Republican president, at the end of next year, and things hopefully will change. I don't see anything changing before then. It's only going to get worse as they continue what they're doing. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. This is a great idea to have, and I'm just so proud to be part of the Hispanic community. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and joining us this evening.
Mhm.
Thank you. Joe Torres.
Yes. Well, as you guys know, I'm a candidate. If you want to look me up, it's under friendsofjoetorres.com. I'm having a fundraiser on October 11th at the Factory. You can look that up on my website. And, I'm going for Westchester County Legislator, District 1. I ran 2 years ago. I almost won. They changed it in the middle of the night. They had me the next day as a winner, but I guess the news didn't get the message. But anyway, it's something I want to work hard for. I believe in community. Like I said, I was a councilman for 4 years, and I took a city that was almost bankrupt, and we turned it around and left it with money in the bank and going in a positive direction. And these are things I would like to do as a county legislator, to represent my area and do the best I can, and serve the people to the best I can. And I promise you I will do that if I get in. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
No problem. You're welcome.
Ruben Rodriguez, Connecticut. I think
First of
you
all,
have the mute on.
Yep. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be at this forum today. Great people. We have a great team out there that it's going to fight for what is right. In my district, it's going to be a free-for-all. In the case that we are going to have a lot of people new in our town, because it's all going to be open seats. So, hope to God that everything goes well in our side. Everyone could follow us in Waterbury Town Republican Town Committee and Facebook. I do have my page in Facebook too, Rodriguez for Connecticut, and we have a lot of ways we need to work. It's an uphill battle, but we are there. We're hearing a lot of the people that are saying enough is enough. They've been in charge for 20 years, and they're now telling the people we need 4 more years. Well, you couldn't do anything in 20 years. What 4 more years are going to do to change the things that you guys are doing? We're getting the same people in the Democrat side. It's the same people that are running. So I want to thank everyone that has supported me in all these years that I've been in different positions. And, I just want something new for our district and new ideas and something that is going to come out to do better things for the community at all. So thank you so much. And I thank you for letting me be at this live forum.
Oh, well, thank you again. Thank you for joining us this evening. I see that we have Manny Villar. He's logged in, and he has an opportunity to introduce himself. Let us know a little bit about what's going on in your district and what actually brought you to the point of running for this area.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on this forum today. My name is Manny Villar. Live out in East Hampton, Long Island, on the eastern end of Long Island. Retired senior sergeant from the New York State Park Police. Also, during the past 2 decades of my career, I was president of New York State's 5th biggest police union, the Police Benevolent Association of New York State. We were a state-level union, one of the 11. Dealing with state-level issues, representing members from Montauk to Buffalo. I also am a local East Hampton guy, member of the volunteer fire department, both in Springs and Montauk fire departments. And we have a opportunity this year. I'm also the East Hampton Town Republican chairman. I have to throw that in
Yeah,
there.
Manny, I was gonna say, how did you forget that? Yeah.
Yeah, we and I was very effective in the state legislature too. Was able to work bipartisan across the board on a lot of interesting legislation. But we have an opportunity in Suffolk. The legislator who had been here for 8 years, this ran against Nick Lalota for Congress, took a good old fashioned ass whooping. And she decided not to run again for county legislature for reelection. So it became an open seat. This is a D11 district. So it's a slog. I got to work, the race. But, there are a tremendous amount of issues here in Suffolk County. The current administration on a county executive, the Bologna administration, is going to leave the county penniless. So we're fortunate we have Ed Romaine running for county executive. He's the county executive that turned the town of Brookhaven around. And we just need to have a good legislature that brings depth of public service, understanding complex state budgets, which I see my buddy Paul Rodriguez is on there, ran for state controller. Go, Paul. Paul understands the if trust me when I say this, if anybody understands the fiasco that's New York State politics, it's Paul. And a lot of things that he said would come to pass are coming to pass. So, we on the local level, New York State next year, a great example. They have a 4-year perspective, I think it's a $37 billion deficit. Would it be $1 billion deficit? So that's going to be insurmountable. And anybody on a local level, that's going to trickle down to our counties, our towns, our villages, cities. So we're going to have everybody on this forum in New York is going to have their hands full in the next couple of years. So, I'm ready for the fight. Bring a 38 years worth of experience and ready to hit the ground running come January. And just thank you, everybody, for giving me the opportunity to be on and for the opportunity to speak here today.
Well, thank you. And before we switch you over to Virginia, all of our candidates had an opportunity to touch on the migrant situation and how they plan to address that in their area. I'm going to go quickly go grab my charger, but if you can proceed on responding to that question.
Absolutely. So the migrant situation is a federal problem, right? And it's being dumped on our local municipalities. And I say this in a sense that nobody here, nobody anywhere is without compassion. But the reality is we have 330 million citizens in the United States in our respective towns, counties, villages. We have to represent our citizens. There is no funding that's coming with this, with the migrant housing for public services, for schools, fire districts, other public services. Everything is being sort of left onto its own. This is going to have a adverse impact right off the bat on your school district taxes, as well as your services for your social safety nets. You don't think of it, but when you go to the emergency room in a hospital, being flooded and hospitals being unable to raise sufficient funds to provide their services. So this is a really from top down ripple effect that's going to have a problem for everybody, every community, every constituent that you represent here today. We got to represent the people that are here. When I was a union president, I said this all the time. I don't negotiate for members that are not yet in the union. I negotiate for my union members. This is the same thing. I have to take care of my constituents and our residents here now, and we have to worry about the money. It's all dollars and cents. As an old Portuguese saying, dinheiro na bolsa é mais de nada. money in your pocket is more than nothing. So that's what we have to worry about. We got to worry about our funding and how we're going to do this. I will do everything humanly possible to keep the federal government from pushing that problem into Suffolk County and into our towns and villages.
Thank you so much for that response. Virginia,
Hi.
introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your district. And
yeah, sorry, I was having a lot of technical difficulties, so I'm here. I'm sorry the background's very, very dark. But yes, my name is Virginia McIntyre. I am in Monroe County. I'm running for the Monroe County legislature in District 4, which is about 2/3 of the town of Gates, which is the town I live in, and a small piece, about 10 to 15% of Greece, which is the next town over. And I got involved in this. It was really a whirlwind of getting involved in politics. Last year, I got to meet Paul. Hello, Paul, and thank you for running for comptroller. We were out there trying to put out signs, knocking on doors. I mean, 2022 was the year that I discovered exactly what it takes to run a campaign. And I went all in. I have been, I've taken time. I was in Italy for 20 years. And I decided to come back, to be with my mother, and really, because a lot of the issues that we're talking about here, even like the migrant situation and healthcare and the green energy policies, all of those things, I've lived through them in Italy, and I've seen the way they play out, and I've seen the way that the message gets manipulated to make people feel like if they don't support these very bad policies, that they're somehow not compassionate. And I've seen the way that these policies really do inflict damage on the poorest members of society. So those people that, a lot of the more liberal, quote unquote, compassionate people that they like to call themselves, they really end up hurting those people they say they want to protect. I lived as an immigrant for 20 years in Italy. And when you're an immigrant in another country, I'm sure you guys know this, you end up talking to a lot of other immigrants. And it was very frustrating for those of us that were going through, for example, all of the legal aspects of getting what was the permesso di soggiorno over there, which is your visa to live there. Or in my case, I actually had a carta di soggiorno, which is a green card for Italy. You spend a lot of money to do all the checks, to get all the documents. I mean, just to switch from the visa to the Italian green card was at least €1,000. And, that was a lot of money for me living over there on my own. And then you see that people are coming in without any of that and being given assistance and being given other things while you were just being taxed and expected to get documents and pay. So, I mean, I've dealt with a lot of these issues, and that kind of got me involved in the political spectrum last year, trying to help out all of the campaigns. It was my goal to turn as much of New York red as I could. We pushed Monroe County, I think it was 13 points more Republican than it had been in the previous elections. But of course, we still did not manage to pick up extra seats. You guys downstate did a great job of that. We're very happy about it. But I went out and I knocked on doors for everyone from Lee Zeldin to Nick Langworthy. I jumped in a car and did part of that district. Claudia Tenney, and all of our local candidates. So we had Jim Van Brederode here. We had Orlando Rivera, who actually is the one that told me about all of you guys. That we were out there. We were out there knocking on doors everywhere. And the biggest thing that I heard from people is that, they had never met anybody that was out there knocking on doors. They hadn't, it was always a name and a letter and never really a face to go with it. And so I've made it my business to sort of be the champion for, I'm a Republican and I'm not what you're expecting, right? Because they're expecting something totally different. And so having a young woman come to their door and say, listen, I'm a conservative Christian. I'm a Republican. This is what I stand for. And I'm going to be positive. I've focused all of my energy on making my campaign about the community, and being positive while still being strong in our message. And I think, a lot of people think that we can't do that anymore. And I am a firm believer that we can. So, that's what I've been doing. They threw me into a primary because there was a lot of pushback because I am not a politician. This is my first time running for office, and I won. It was 63% to 37%. And we, for all that people complain about voter turnout in primaries, we actually got, it was almost 1,000 people out to vote, but that is almost the same amount of people came out to vote in our small local legislature primary as they did. I mean, looking at I have the spreadsheets of it, as they did in the primary of 2022, and so for the governor. And so that was it was a great turnout. It was a wonderful turnout, which I'm really, really proud of, and I am continuing to go door to door and talk to as many people as I can and spread that message that you can be a conservative Christian and be very, very positive, and support public safety. It's a very back the blue ticket. And yeah, back the blue and community. And of course, we want, if they have lowered taxes in the Monroe County legislature, and they have taken sales tax off of clothing items that are under $110 at the moment. And they've also lowered the tax rate, which is good. Hopefully we will continue that. I was worried about the messaging being out there about lowering taxes because I'll be in there for 4 years. And if I am in there for 4 years, I want to make sure that the messaging is consistent and that it doesn't look like in 2023, we said we'd lower taxes and then 2025, they raised them. I don't want them to do that. But the message is to keep spending stable and to use intergovernmental relations to make sure that we're watching that budget as much as we can for the residents.
Well, thank you so much for that response. We're going to go back now to Helen Q. Helen, we're going to give you 2 minutes or less. Let people know where they can find you, your campaign.
Thank you. I'm Helen Q, running for Lower Manhattan, District 1. And my website is helenqiu.com. And I'm looking for Hispanic field leader. So if you have the time and passion, and if you love our Hispanic families in my district, please contact me. It's a paid position, so I hope to bring out all the good votes in Hispanic community. And please contact me and write to me at my email, helen4nyc@gmail.com. helen4nyc@gmail.com. And I have a number, 212-610-1777. 212-610-1777. And I love New York. I hope we will love New York and bring back its glory. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time this evening, Helen.
God bless.
God bless you. Thank you so much. Debbie Kozak, you have 2 minutes. Let everyone know where they can find you and about your campaign.
Sure. Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome to our other candidates. Hello there. I'm Debbie Kozak. I live in Yonkers, New York. I am running for Westchester County Legislator in District 16, which is a Yonkers district. I am running because the seat is now an open seat. It has not had a Republican candidate in over 20 years. I know I can make a big difference, and there needs to be a balance here at Westchester County where there are currently 15 Democrats and only 2 non-Democrats making up the entire county board. The hot topics here in Westchester are certainly the illegal immigrants. There is a emphasis needed on seniors who are the forgotten community. I will not forget you, and I know that you're there because I've talked to you. Taxes, eliminating taxes that are unnecessary, and certainly reducing the tax burden is very important. And that's going to be a challenge because the state is bankrupt or getting close to it, as is the country. Look at the mess that they have down in Washington, D.C. with the debt that we're all going to have to pay for. Of quality of life here in Yonkers is becoming a problem. We have scooters, people riding on scooters all over the place, no helmets, no licenses, riding on sidewalks, riding in between cars, going through lights. It's a hot mess over here. The police are up to their wits' end trying to keep everybody safe, and they're doing a phenomenal job here in Yonkers, I will say. There's a great deal of shoplifting going on here. I would go as far as to say it's borderline looting on what's going on. Our local Walgreens and Rite Aids are being overrun by people that are coming in on the bus. They're timing shoplifting, and they're just hopping back on and getting away. And we have a homeless issue here in Yonkers. The homeless centers and shelters are right here in District 16, or as we call it, down by the train station and down by Getty Square. And it's the county's responsibility to take care of funding, and they are not doing a sufficient job. So once again, I'm Debbie Kozak. I'm running for Westchester County Legislator. You can reach me on my website, which is deb4westchester.com. My email address is deb4westchester@gmail.com. And I wish everybody good luck. And we can do this, everybody. 5 weeks in 1 day, and we got this. Peace.
Okay, Myron, you're on mute. Myron, you're on mute.
Thank you so much. Thanks for reminding me about that. Paul Rodriguez, you have 2 minutes to tell everyone about your campaign.
So everybody, thank you again. Thank you, Myron. Thank you, Raheem, for producing. Thank you, all the candidates and the RNHA here in New York, as well as nationally. Again, my name is Paul Rodriguez. I'm running for city council here in New York, in Brooklyn, in the 38th district, which is an area that encompasses Sunset Park, Red Hook, bits and pieces of Borough Park and Bath Beach, Windsor Terrace, and Dyker Heights. And I already mentioned earlier how diverse it is. So the way that you can reach me in terms of my campaign, it's Rodriguez, how it's spelled here with a G, RODRIGUEC, FORNYC. So Rodriguez for NYC.com is my website. And then whether it's Facebook, Twitter X, or Instagram, again, it's Rodriguez for NYC. Just to encapsulate everything, what I see is a big struggle that we're facing now is really has almost less to do, particularly in New York City, and the fact that I'm running against an avowed and very dedicated socialist has less to do with really the traditional Democrat versus Republican or even a left versus right. It's really an issue of these 23 socialists that are on the city council, as well as other members of this New York City Democratic Socialists of America, against Republicans, against independents, against conservatives, and against increasingly disaffected Democrats who themselves are realizing that these people do not necessarily represent their democratic values, their belief in the individual, in property rights, in the idea of actually being able to own a business or own your own home or being able to be the master of your own destiny, if you will. So here the main issues really are in large part public safety, its quality of life, and its education. And education because we are seeing that instead of expanding opportunities for the people in our district, we are actively engaging in discrimination against many of our district, particularly Asians, because many within the city council and within the state of New York feel that they do too well, and that somehow they take too many spots at the best schools here in New York City. So rather than reward them and encourage them for their accomplishment, we feel the need to hold them back. And one thing which is very important in terms of making sure that all of our children rise to the occasion and succeed is to put standards in place that allow you to work up to those standards and get better and move forward and achieve. If you get rid of if you have no standards or you lower them, all you're going to end up is having with people who are less capable and people who are going to be stuck in the cycle of poverty and in the cycle of, rather than moving forward and making a better life, being involved in crime and other things. So I want to thank you again for your time. Paul Rodriguez, 38 City Council District, Brooklyn. And I look forward to having your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, Paul.
Good
Michael
night.
Wooten, so glad that
Yes.
you joined us this evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Why don't you tell us about yourself, your district?
Sure. My name is Michael Wooten. I'm running for East Hampton Town Council. East Hampton is located approximately 100 miles east of Manhattan. As you probably well know, it's a tourist destination. And some of the problems facing East Hampton people are, I guess this things have been mentioned here tonight, are quality of life issues. I think the first and foremost is probably affordable housing. There is a very large Hispanic community in our high schools, and they have difficulty finding places to live that are affordable. The unaffordability is primarily a result of the fact that many Manhattanites purchase second homes here in East Hampton, driving the prices skyward and make it difficult for, working families, school teachers, and people who work in retail and the trades, difficult for them to live out here. So that's a big, big problem. I think the main way that we can solve that problem is probably trying to diversify our economy away from strictly real estate development and second home ownership. And I think the best way to do that is some way to diversify our economy. And that's going to take time and probably investment in infrastructure. In our district, in the township of East Hampton, it's been dominated by the Democratic Party for over 10 years. I'm not sure the last time that the Republicans had a majority in our town. It's probably been over 20 years. Manny, who's on this call as well tonight, he is our chairman. He's the chairman of the Republican Party in East Hampton. And he's running in I believe it's the first district for legislator in Suffolk County.
Second district.
And he has more experience. He's been the chairman of the Republican Party out here for a long time. Mm-hmm. So we're fighting an uphill battle. I think in terms of registered voters, it's about a 2-to-1 margin in favor of the Democrats. So we have an uphill battle. But I think that I forget the woman who spoke, the woman from Yonkers, who talked about the best way to do it is
Debbie Kozak, yes.
Knocking door to door and meeting people face to face. When we do that, we get favorable responses.
Yes.
My website, I have a website. It's wooten4eh.com, and I typed it on the chat there.
Thank you so much for your time and joining us this evening.
And I do appreciate all the energy that everyone's brought here tonight, and as well as your the endorsement from.
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to fill out our survey. I don't know if everyone knows, but everyone that gets endorsed by the Republican National Hispanic Assembly does complete a conservative survey. And once they complete that, our board reviews and get our endorsed candidates. We're going to go ahead and give Manny Villar a couple of minutes to just say a couple final words on how everyone can find your website and get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So it's Villar for Suffolk, the word FOR, villarforsuffolk.com. Can email me at info@villarforsuffolk. My cell, I'm an old union guy, so I'm used to constituent services. My cell is 631-324-0528. Always happy to get a phone call or a text. Like I said, we have a tremendous uphill climb here out on Eastern Long Island, both in the legislative district as well as our town races. We have some stupendous candidates in both Southampton and East Hampton town. And we recognize the need for balance in government, investment in infrastructure, and protecting our citizens and backing our police officers, which is always near and dear to my heart. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak tonight and the endorsement. I can't tell you how much it means. Thank you.
Good to see you, Manny.
Raheem, good to see you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
It's another Southampton guy.
Yes, sir. You know it.
Know what he said?
You know it. We got to do it. Okay, hold on. Myron's on mute. Hold on.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. I wanted to say thank you again for joining us this evening and sharing with us the concerns that are in your district. I want to give also another 2 minutes to Virginia. If you want to go ahead and give us how can we get in touch with you, Virginia?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I have a website. It is www.electvirginia.com. We made it really simple. The Gmail is Virginia. That's Virginia, 4 as in the number 4, district 4 at gmail.com. So we tried to make everything very simple, but I've been doing a lot on my Facebook page as well, getting out there and giving the reports of the people that I go to see door to door, which I actually find is it's having a huge impact. And so, just as I said before, obviously my campaign is all public safety, sense of community, and make sure we keep our spending down. Thank you to all of you for the endorsement. It's wonderful. It's incredible, especially because I'm connected to a lot of different groups with Latinos. And so I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate being here tonight and getting the chance to speak and hearing some of our people downstate that are fighting the good fight. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time as well. I'm going to go ahead and give Michael Wooten a couple of minutes to give everyone some information on your campaign and where they can find you.
Yeah. Again, my website is wooten4eh.com, and my last name is difficult to spell. It's commonly misspelled. It's WOOTTON, the number 4 eh.com, and the email address is pretty similar, wooten4eh@gmail.com.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone that joined us this evening by social media. Thank you so much, Raheem Soto, who is our Suffolk County ambassador for the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. We're so blessed to have him on board. We're so blessed to have such an amazing team here in New York. We continue to expand. If you're in a district that does not have a caucus yet for the RNHA, by all means, contact us. Contact at rnhany.org. Again, that's contact at rnhany.org. And that way we can get in touch with you to see if we can open up a caucus in your area. Again, God bless everyone. Thank you so much for your time and joining us this evening. Please reach out to the candidates in your district. They can use your help, phone banking, block walking, and distributing pamphlets, whatever you can help them with. I'm sure they'll greatly appreciate it. God bless you. God bless America, and have a blessed night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
God bless
Good night.
America.
Good night,
God bless all of
Thank
you.
you.
Amen.